Welcome to the Natural Solutions class. So I want to welcome you here. I'm so excited that you guys are here. And my name is Natalie Pelto, and this is basically a crash course into why essential oils can be a support system in your home. A little bit about myself. I'm the founder of Essential Modern Day Healers. I have multiple certifications in health, including nutrition, detoxification, cancer prevention. But I also come from just background in modern day healthcare. I spent 20 years in diagnostics where I saw so much sickness and illness and diagnostic of things that were too late, that it truly inspired me into wanting to help others in the prevention area. Because many times when you get diagnosed with something, it is often what people think is too late. I have I have a true love for functional medicine practices. And I am also a mother of 3 wonderful children and a wife to a husband. So I am a very, very busy person. And there was this moment where I truly understood how much essential oils made my life easier. And this is what kind of began and started me on this journey to educate. Now, why did I even think, coming from Western healthcare, why did I even approach the thought of using essential oils? And this is actually key to my entire story. It is my passion. My son at 2 years old was almost diagnosed with autism. He was nonverbal, and after seeing many pediatricians, after really diving deep into healthcare to see what was out there for autism, and actually working through healthcare, understanding the limitations of our system, really in that moment. And I was completely disempowered. I had lost all hope. Everything I read on the internet just affirmed and confirmed what the doctors were telling me, that we were in for a very, very difficult life for my son. He would never have the opportunities that other children had. And this was heart-wrenching and heartbreaking. And any parent of an autistic child can relate to this, specifically the ones who are dealing with nonverbal autism, like what I was. My son actually didn't speak at all, did not look up, did not make eye contact. And it really was this moment where I knew I had to think outside the box. And just with luck, I one day typed something into Google, because I was a heavy, heavy researcher and always have been my entire life. And I just by chance found something that was different. And the study of the microbiome completely changed our world. The study of nutrition and its impact on the microbiome completely changed the direction that I was going with my treatments and my care for my son. And along with that, after about a year of having some really, really fantastic success with the microbiome support that I was trying to do for my son, I was really privileged in finding Doterra. Now, I had many choices, and we'll talk a little bit about those later. But Doterra and I found each other at exactly the right time. And I'm going to fast forward us to where we are today. And those oils, those little drops of gold, had such a huge impact in our recovery for my son, that symptom-wise and support-wise, it really helped us along the journey of his healing. And I love to say today that my son has been fully healed from regressive autism. He is completely verbal. He has a ton of friends. He is exactly where he should be in class. And you wouldn't even know by speaking to him that condition actually affected him till he was around 6. He is 10 now. It's been 4 years. And I can only be grateful for the things that I was able to uncover through much, much research and digging. Now, these oils are becoming very mainstream. So my intention for this class is actually just to inspire others to have the opportunity to see if these oils are meant for them, to see if this lifestyle is truly going to impact their lives and what they're going through right now. Now, the business side of things became a true inspiration for me, even though I have all these certifications, all these things. The thing that was really interesting about essential oils is they came at a time as well in our journey that My husband just happened to lose his job, and I had never seen so much benefit happen to others where I was sharing naturally anyways. I was gifting oils to people, and they were having these huge successes. I had never truly been aware of a business side to this. And so this inspired me to truly embrace educating others, because I was already doing it, to educate others into this world of essential oils. So without further ado, let's really talk about very briefly, to just take inventory right now. One of the things that I find we don't do is sit quietly with ourselves and just take inventory on our own pain points, on what brought us to this class. Some of us know right away that there's like this very strong condition that they want to deal with, and others it's more they want to detoxify their homes. But sometimes we don't sit in stillness in just wondering what it is that we need. And so I invite you guys to just have a moment to just think about that thing that you would love to have support with, because throughout the class, we will definitely, hopefully, be covering many of those things. Now, not all essential oil classes talk about the microbiome in you. One of the reasons I always incorporate it into my essential oil classes is that the importance of our microbiome is everything. And the beauty of essential oils are that that beautiful instant gratification, that they work and are effective and simple and safe, and that's great. But they also propel you into this journey of living a better and healthier life. And this is a way to have an introduction very briefly into the microbiome, just so that you understand what you are actually made of. So we all know about, most of us know about bacteria now, and how we have bacteria in our gut and outside on our skin. And basically that we are covered in these little viruses and fungi and bacteria. And we have good bacteria and bad bacteria. And it actually, there are more, this is what some people don't realize, there are more bacteria and fungi and viruses than our own cellular structures. And that's really huge. Like, there are trillions of them. And there are more of them than there are of us. Now, what are their functions? This is the thing that people don't realize, is this microbiome, these little bacteria, they have huge functions in our body. They are actually the ones that decide, for example, if a medication is going to work for you or not, if you are going to be able to absorb that one nutrient or not. And over time, when our bacteria and our fungi and our viruses, our microbiome has been impacted by negative environmental things, such as what we eat, what we put on our skin, the toxicity that we have in our environment, then it wears down and kills off this good bacteria. And often the bad bacteria will have the opportunity to proliferate and to win. And this is where we end up with things like candida. And if we look at many symptoms in autism, just as an example, and most conditions have this underlying symptom, is that there are many gut problems, there are many brain problems, because the microbiome and our gut, for example, has 70% of our immunity, has a direct link to our brain. And in Western culture, we like to divide things into pieces. We have a cardiologist for heart, and we have enterologists for our organs, and then we have, osteopeople for our bones. Now, when we look at that and we think about how much we've had all these specialists break us apart, we are no longer looked at as a whole. And this is actually really important. What we're going to talk about today is how essential oils can impact all of this in a positive way. So these are the living a wellness lifestyle. This is what you're kind of going to listen to today, as an introduction to essential oils and lifestyle change. And this is my favorite pyramid. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here, because most of the information that usually happens after people make the decision if this is a lifestyle for them. So the basics of it is, by living and using this pyramid as a foundational, guideline to shift you into health, will impact your microbiome in a positive way and give you a life full of vitality and energy. And each of these wonderful pillars here, can be impacted with essential oils in a big, big way. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So even though today specifically, I'm going to be talking, the one reason I do talk about these doTERRA supplements briefly is because this is the foundation of our health. It's actually what we put in our bodies, what we feed our microbiome. It's not so much about everything we take out, although that's important as well. It's about what we can put in that will feed this little bacteria, these little guys that are going to help to, keep us working efficiently. Our microbiome has more functions in our body than we do in a way, and we just are starting to kind of touch the tip of the iceberg on how much it has an impact on us. So alpha CRS, EX Omega, and Microplex MVZ are actually doTERRA's #1 supplement and #1 product. Even though we're going to be diving into essential oils in 2 minutes, there's a reason why we talk about the foundation, because this is the area where you will see the most dramatic impact in your health. Specifically, if you're someone who's listening here and looking for an answer to a huge condition, that where you need extra support, and you're probably starting from the ground point, maybe your diet isn't the best. So the Microplex MVZ is basically food nutrient supplementation. It puts you in the green zone. It's a whole food supplement. The beautiful thing about these that they're absorbent in the cell. We can buy, tons of stuff from the health food store. We can buy stuff from, the Shoppers Drug Mart or whatever kind of pharmacy that you have. But many times those synthetics, they're not actually bioavailable to our cellular structure. And these beautiful supplements, because of the whole food-based form and the way they've been extracted, they actually absorb in that cellular structure, so you can actually use it really well. Now the EX Omega, what you're looking at there is you're looking at your nail health, your hair health, your brain fog lifter. This is basically your fish oils, and there is a vegan version for those who do not like fish or anything like that. But the EX Omega right now, we're actually being overabundanced in one type of oil, which is the omega-6, and to a point where we're 24 times sometimes having that one oil affect us. And then as a woman, we should have actually a ratio of 1 to 1. That's really important, because as soon as anything happens in the body that's out of balance or out of, any nutrient that we start to be deficient in, that's where it leaves us open to disease, to not being able to sufficiently make our bodies work. And then we have the alpha CRS. This is like the inflammation powerhouse. So this is available in an adult form and a children's form. And I always talk about it just because foundationally, this is really where the magic does happen. Now, let's talk about the beauty of essential oils and what they are. This is your crash course. We're going to start right in. So essential oils are volatile aromatic compounds. And what does that mean? Well, volatile aromatic compounds just means that when you open an essential oil bottle that is a pure and potent form, you actually will have those little constituents, those drops, start to evaporate into the air right away. And this is really beneficial for diffusion. Now, essential oils come from all different plant matter. It can come from the fruits, where it would be where it would be expressed from the peel. It can be steam distilled. It could be cold pressed. It could have all different types of ways to distill. But there is tons of science that goes behind actually finding how to distill each plant. We can use the flowers, we can use the bark, we can use the resin, we can use the flowers. There's just so many pieces of the plant, and different parts of the plant can often yield different types of essential oil. Now, what is the purpose of the essential oil? Well, an essential oil basically is the way that the plant can protect itself, can give itself immunity, can attract bees for pollination. They just have a very broad force and are such a major function in the plant. Now, what's beautiful about essential oils is how they work with us, which we're going to get into in a second. Right now, I've given you guys a little bit of a talk about how we look at modern medicine today. So as an example, just to bring us back to what our healthcare is looking like, $6.5 trillion a year is spent on global healthcare. And we've never lived longer, but we've never been sicker. And this is where vitality and quality of life truly matters. Now, when we look at that 6.5 trillion, when we think about traumatic experiences, we have never lived through traumatic experiences more. And that is where our money is having a great impact. And we're really kind of getting a return on investment. Now, when we're thinking about chronic conditions, which is quality of life, this is where the system is failing us, because we are consistently getting sicker even though we're living longer. And so we're not enjoying those times when, just say we retire and we could have that time to live our lives to the fullest without having to work. Now, our healthcare system is designed to manage symptoms. So you go into the hospital, you give them a symptom, and then they will normally, because they're chemically engineered, and that's where their mind goes and they're trained, nothing wrong with that, that's just what they know, then they actually will prescribe you a medication. And oftentimes this could lead to an adverse reaction, which then needs to be, again, you need to take another medication to take away that adverse reaction. So as you can see, it's kind of like this wheel, this never-ending wheel. And having worked in healthcare for as long as I have, I've seen this firsthand, and it is very, it's very frightening. It's very sad. Now, the natural approach is actually quite different, and it's more of a preventative approach, so that you never have to go to the hospital. You never, I mean, unless you have that traumatic situation, which that's what the hospitals were made for in the first place. Now, when you're using a natural approach, you're actually addressing the body's needs and root cause. You are using something that's extracted from plants, and a plant's cellular structure is similar to ours, which is why it works so well with us. You have the benefits of both physical and emotional health. And what's nice about essential oils specifically is that they have a multidimensional impact in the body, which means that sometimes, for example, you can use peppermint for a headache, and then all of a sudden your indigestion or your tummy rumbling, so all of a sudden it stops and goes away. These are the beauty of using natural substances with our bodies. The other thing is that oftentimes, rather than tackling a symptom-based thing, they will actually address a root cause. And with that comes the feeling of safety, because essential oils have a reaction of like 0.007%. So for me, when I'm looking and I'm talking to clients and we're talking about essential oils, and they have this really they have this like idea that they might hurt them, I say, well, did you look at the reactions from the 3 medications you listed to me? Oftentimes they haven't even looked at the 20 different reactions that they could be getting, or symptoms they could be getting from that one synthetic medication, which is very, very rare to have any kind of side effect with a natural essential oil that is pure, which we're going to get into in a second. So I hope that kind of gives you a roundabout explanation of what that looks like versus what we're dealing with now. And functional medicine, this is the last thing I'm going to say about the natural approach. Functional medicine looks at the body as a whole rather than a broken apart system, and it treats it like an ecosystem. And if we look at our plants, we wouldn't give them juice. We wouldn't give them, candies and things like that, because they would die. And our own bodies are similar to this. And so if you take out the bad stuff and you actually replenish the good, your body is an intelligent system full of cellular and microbiome stuff that will actually heal itself. It's meant to do so. Okay, so why are essential oils effective? So as you can tell, there is this beautiful graph in front of you of what it looks like in a cellular structure. Now, we've talked about how they're natural or aromatic compounds. They contain hundreds of different compounds, sometimes up to trillions, and they provide complex and versatile abilities to combat threats without building up a resistance. So that's really, I hope that if some of you guys are in healthcare or some of you guys are kind of grabbing this, you're like, oh, they're not building a resistance. What do we have that builds resistance? Well, we have these superbugs right now that are able to build resistance to things like antibiotics. But essential oils are very unique because they have so many compounds, whereas a synthetic medication only has like usually 1 or 2, which is why they can build these resistances. Now, the other beautiful thing about these oils is, as you can tell, the essential oil, these squiggly lines that can go into the cellular structure, they have an impact directly in the cell. Now, the essential oil is not what is doing all the work. It is actually stimulating a response from you, where your cellular structure is doing the appropriate thing that it's supposed to be doing, such as fighting off a virus, or, you know, fighting off something that it needs to, or maybe even just rewriting some miswritten DNA, possibly even creating cell apoptosis. That is and cell apoptosis is cell death. When disease is around, some cells we don't want to hang around. So that is some pretty heavy duty education. So we're going to keep on trucking here, but just know that there is a science behind essential oils that is so beautiful and so complex. And yet treating the body is simple, safe, and effective with them. And they are the magic golden drops of what I like to say, the health. Now, let's talk about potency, which is actually one of the most important things to address in our essential oil world today. When I came into the world of essential oils, this was not an issue. There was not 20 million different companies trying to sell essential oils on a market that is completely unregulated. So potency and purity is what is the most important thing to me, and transparency in a company that is going to be sourcing ethically. All of that wording is super important. Integrity in the company is something that I would have to align with. So in potency, when you're looking at Doterra, and this we're going to talk about specifically Doterra, is that the quality and the potency is so high. So in 1 drop of peppermint oil, there is the equivalent of 28 cups of peppermint tea, which means they're actually about 50 to 70 times more potent than a herb. So let's talk a bit about now what is out there today. And I'm going to make this brief. One of the things that's out there is a large world of synthetics. Now, having a detox specialty, I could tell you what it looks like. It looks like people distill some essential oils that they grow themselves generally, which means they were not bombarded by the natural environmental threats that will yield a potent oil, first of all. And what they do is they put a little bit in a bottle, in a batch, and then they say, okay, so now we're going to fill it with a filler, either be coconut oil or jojoba or some sort of usually food grade oil. And what ends up happening is that quality is, first of all, diluted. Second of all, it no longer has that aromatic capability to diffuse properly because it's been diluted with a carrier oil. And on top of it, they add fragrance, right? Because it's lost its smell. And that's what they want people to do, is really start to use it in their diffusers. And so when we look at that as a detox specialist and I see this fragrance being added, it really truly worries me, because fragrance has a negative impact in the liver area. And if you actually were to go back and look at some of the aromatic studies and some of the studies from not so long ago, before doTERRA became a pretty high standard, the standard to go by for research, what ended up happening was there would be some negative impact of essential oils in the liver area because nothing was regulated. And we still to this day are not part of a regulated FDA community. Nothing governs anything you put on your skin. And that's unfortunately why that's unfortunate, and that's why we create things like the Think Dirty app, the Skin Deep database, to understand and have at least some resources to see how toxic it is, some of the substances we put on our skin. So looking at this, the synthetic world is probably 95% of the essential oil world now. When we're talking about food grade oils, this is a different aspect of it. Now, food grade oils can be stuff you put in gum and things like that. Now, the other thing about food grade oils, though, is we're going to talk a little bit about a positive of this, is that food grade oils are not essential oils. They're generally these beautiful oils that you can use as carrier oils. Now, I talked a bit about how important that purity and potency was, right? So in doTERRA's bottles, there's absolutely no coconut oil added or fractionated coconut oil. It is the pure deal. And you will know right away, because if you put a drop of that in your hand, you will actually have this experience of having that oil evaporate within like 2 seconds, and there's no residue. Now that is knowing that. But sometimes if you want to have treat localized areas on your skin and not just put the oil in the diffuser where it has a huge impact in its own, but on your skin, you actually want to dilute it. You get way more use and way more coverage, and you have to use way less. So a food grade oil is actually pretty important. We're going to get into a little bit of the different food grade oils down below when we talk about how to use them. Therapeutic grade oils, these are oils that are, again, not really regulated. They can be organic, but that says nothing about potency. It says nothing about dilution, because you can have a therapeutic grade oil that is diluted with organic oil. So again, an unregulated product. And so then there's the CPTG standard that doTERRA created. This is doTERRA's foundational and mission was to bring the purest and most potent essential oils on the market and be transparent about it and make sure that they were tested. So this CPTG stands for Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade in the United States and everywhere else in the world. In Canada, Certified Pure Tested Grade. Doterra tests their essential oils on 54 different levels. I believe 43 tests are done in-house, and the rest are done externally by a third party that has no affiliation with doTERRA other than to test their oils. And they test oils from all over the world. And so I love that doTERRA allows us to have access to the third-party testing. This is where they have kind of set this bar on standard and on purity and potency. They allow us we could easily just scan a bottle of peppermint, for example, in their www.sourcetu website, and it will give us some of that testing. Actually, it will give us most of the testing. I myself do not understand it, but if I had a chemist friend, which I do, he can look it over and be like, yes, that is testing. That is that right plant. And that is very, very important to me to know that every time I use my oil, it's going to work the same way. So how do we use these oils? This is where is a lot of importance. First of all, aromatically is an amazing way to use essential oils for emotion. When we dealt with autism, we had a young child who would be a little bit harder to soothe because he didn't understand using essential oils aromatically through a diffuser, even just putting it in my hands and having them breathe it in. This was very impactful for those big emotional moments. It's also wonderful for airway stuff. So if you have colds, or if you have airway issues or a condition, using certain essential oils such as eucalyptus or breathe oil in the diffuser have a huge impact in opening airways. So this is the easiest way to start with essential oils because diffusers are simple. You fill them with water up to the line or the red dot, and then you just add 2 to 3 essential oils. I want to talk a little bit about that now for 1 second. If you go to any commercial store, we'll say, or even a specialized store for essential oils, if they are a chain on average and they do not carry organic essential oils for the most part, if you ask them, how many essential oil drops do I need in my diffuser? The average answer is 17 to 34 from a 15 ml bottle. If you are talking about doTERRA's essential oils, you use 2 to 3 drops. Actually, sometimes I use 1 if it's a floral, just because they are so pure and potent, right? There's no dilution. So you're actually getting a lot longer span of life out of your essential oil bottle. I have some essential oil bottles that have lasted me 5 years, and I'm a frequent user of multiple blends. The second way to use essential oils is when you put it on your skin, so topically. So when we're using our essential oils topically, we're thinking about we have this like one area we want to tackle. And so we're able to use a carrier oil. I teach dilution for everything for safety. And you can put 1 drop in 1 teaspoon of carrier oil being like coconut oil, or coconut oil being best, and doTERRA sells a fractionated liquid coconut oil. And you can actually just treat that area. So for me, I like it for a sunburn. Okay, I can cover my entire body with 2 drops of oil and 1 teaspoon of carrier oil. That's magic to me. And I only need to do that a few times for that redness to completely dissipate, not peel, and turn into a lovely tan. Now, the other thing that's great is if you have pain points, if you have certain areas, and it's great for bumps and bruising and things that are blemishy, and just it's amazing for skin issues and pain issues. So topically is when you want to tackle one specific area. Note on safety. I do always teach this now. We do not put citrus oils in the sun where they can see the light because they do act as a photosensitive, no different than dropping lemonade on you. If you dropped lemonade on you and you went out in the sun, you will turn red, you will burn. And that is, think about how pure and potent these oils are. So you do really want to be aware that just citrus oils, if you do live somewhere sunny, I do not, I don't have to worry about this as much. You actually don't want to be just going out in the sun. But it's amazing if you want to create your own little sun-in. I can give you guys a nice little recipe. If you want to have a couple highlights, you can literally just throw in a couple drops with some water and spritz it in your hair, as long as you don't get your scalp. And you can, like, your hair can like easily just lighten in the sun again. So different ways, right, to use the oils to make it work for you. There are other essential oils. So now this is where I don't like to teach people anymore I don't allow them to take notes at my classes anymore. And I think that this has been a really big turning point in my education, was when I discovered that someone was taking essential oils internally that were to me not safe. And it was because I had taught them that doTERRA's essential oils, many of them, most of them, can be taken internally. And when I discovered that this person was buying essential oils that were clearly marked, do not take internally, do not wear topically, I knew that they were a fragrance synthetic. I was extremely upset, because these, again, fragrance synthetics, negative impact in the liver. And so I've requested for most people to not take notes, because if you're not going to join this beautiful lifestyle journey with this specific company, you cannot guarantee the purity and potency of your oils, and you cannot take them internally. Now, internally is the strongest way to use essential oils, and I use probably 75% of my essential oils internally. Working in healthcare still, which I still do, I have to really be careful of the scents that we have in Canada. It's slowly changing and shifting, but I do have to be aware of that. And so I get the benefits of using essential oils internally, and I'm grateful knowing that doTERRA does test their essential oils on such a large scale for pesticides, herbicides, any like heavy metals. It is all tested for that. And the oils that are capable to be, or you can take internally, they will be marked right on the bottle. You can take 1 drop, for example, in 125 mils of water, and you'll see it written right on the bottle for safety. All right, so let's talk about the oils now. So I've kind of given you guys a crash course. I feel that most people who have never heard of essential oils now have kind of now an understanding of these beautiful drops of gold, that I like to say, that they're not just something you stick in your diffuser and just to make your house smell pretty. No, they have a huge impact on your olfactory, and they can, one of the reasons is, which I kind of missed saying when I was talking about aromatically, when you're dealing with the emotional parts of essential oils, you're actually looking at this impact through the olfactory. And the olfactory, and I always find this so amazing, really, was your first sense. It's actually how the sperm found the egg. We have olfactory cellular or receptors, on every single cell we have. We smell with every cell. And this means that these essential oils have a huge impact through diffusion by stimulating the limbic system and allowing us to create the hormones that we need. And some of these can have an influence on oxytocin, which is like the love. We can have serotonin, which is safety with our families, just endorphins, that feeling of satisfaction. We can stimulate that response with the essential oils. And again, it's not the essential oils that are doing the work. They're not impacting, they're impacting our response, our way of doing it in a positive fashion. The body is still the one that is doing the work. So I have to elaborate on that hugely so that I can be compliant with how we must speak with essential oils. Now let's dive into the most used essential oils. And the reason I always talk about these is because they're found in they are found in all of the starter kits with essential oils. And there's a reason why these were created as a starter kit. These are the most common, versatile essential oils you can get, which means that you can have multiple uses, the most multiple uses with these 10 oils. You don't have to go buy 20 different oils to figure out which one works for you and your body and your family for immunity. No, the guesswork is taken out. This kit was created for that purpose, to basically give you access to 85 to 90% of the solutions that you may need for what you will come across in your home, from small things to ginormous things. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of those right now. So peppermint is what we call the gateway oil. It is the oil that probably has about 250 uses. I'm only going to give you a few because we could be here all day, obviously. So peppermint is wonderful for airway opening. And right away when you open this bottle, you will see a difference. And you will see that these essential oils are so, so different. They truly... this is my favorite thing to do in an actual class setting, is to take the peppermint, pass it around. We all rub our hands together and we just put it by our noses and inhale, because the impact of how much it just opens up the airways and wakes you up and gives you this little boost of energy, that is why they call it the gateway oil. It's wonderful for things like nausea, as is peppermint tea. It's wonderful for indigestion. It's wonderful for headaches. It's one of the most common. It's wonderful for keeping ants and spiders away. So it has this beautiful, beautiful multifunctional purpose. Usually peppermint is one of these oils that I almost put in every single blend. Plus it smells like candy canes, which makes everyone happy as well. But it's very, very soothing to the nervous system, yet stimulating to us if we needed that boost, if we need it. So when I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I will actually reach for my peppermint bottle, rub it between my hands, and I inhale, and that wakes me right up. And then I can go and move along my day. Lavender essential oil is all calming. It is also considered the Swiss Army knife. And we all know, what does the Swiss Army knife do? When you open it up, you have all the tools, right? You could do almost anything with a Swiss Army knife. So lavender is in the same playing field as, usually I tell people, if I haven't answered my phone for 5 minutes and you really, really are dealing with something major, go ahead, put lavender on it. It will likely work and it's not going to hurt you. So lavender is this wonderful oil that is wonderful for calming because it has an impact on cortisol, which is that stress hormone. It's wonderful for immunity. It's wonderful for, it's actually a natural antihistamine. And if you know the word antihistamines, it means you know that you have seasonal threats or issues with sneezing and all that stuff. It's also wonderful for any type of skin irritation and for soothing any type of skin problems that you can have. So very, very potent, pure, and very, very impactful oil. Lemon essential oil is probably the oil that I get the most before and after pictures of. I always tell people that because it's so cleansing. And what I mean by cleansing is people clean with this guy and send me pictures of stains that even carpet cleaners couldn't take out, professionals, and yet lemon oil always comes through. I've had multiple people send me pictures and little statements saying, I am so grateful that you sent me this because I had this so very expensive rug. I almost threw it out. And I remembered you saying lemon oil, and they rubbed it in and then waited. And sure enough, they were able to keep their rug and didn't have to throw it out. So lemon oil is cleansing externally, obviously on surfaces, and it's also cleansing internally. And any citrus oil has this direct impact in our liver in a detox mode, as like I like to say. It's amazing for cleansing. So it cleanses things. So it cleanses us, and it creates, because of the high content of limonene, it actually helps to put us in phase 2 of detoxification, which is like magic, guys. Like phase 1 is activated with green leafy vegetables and chlorophyll and all these things. But using lemon oil is this really, really great way of supporting another part of our detoxification that's very, very deep. And anything that has limonene in it, or limonene, everybody says different words with it, it has this impact in our creation of antioxidants, which is beautiful cells that help us to correct damaged cells. So again, something we put in to help our bodies get stimulated to do the work it needs to do. So lemon oil, anything cleansing. Plus, if you want to kill any type of smell in your home, go ahead and put lemon, because after you cook fish or after you cook something that has this residue, this is the oil you want to throw in your diffuser. Okay, Melaleuca, also known as tea tree oil. Everywhere in the world it is called tea tree oil. I call it here in Canada, or sorry, it's called Melaleuca, and here in Canada we call it tea tree. But this oil is everything very kind of antiseptic-ish, and it is an amazing bug, not killer, but deterrent. So for us, I, working in healthcare, will get, sometimes exposed to bed bugs and things like that. So on those days, I always come home and spray my linens and my doorways and my shoes and my clothes, and I put a couple drops in the washer of tea tree oil to help deter, to keep those things away. It's amazing for cleansing and cleaning again. It's wonderful for diffusing. It's wonderful against viruses. And it has this great impact if you have a cut, a scrape, any kind of skin yuckiness. It really, really soothes it. You don't have to put it in the cut. You just put it around the area, and it will completely just soak in. Because that's the beauty of essential oils. If you put them on your skin, they actually can be absorbed within 20 seconds and can be in every cell within 20 minutes. So their impact is huge and very, very quick. On Guard is your first blend. So when we talk about blends, this is pretty exciting. The oils that are put together in the blend work better in synergy than they do if they were apart. And On Guard is all things immunity. And if we think about it, like, we are all made differently, and we all have different, basically we're just all beings that have chemicals running through our bodies that are natural. And so we would react all differently to outside natural chemicals. So some of us would use, wild orange would be a better immunity blend for us, or maybe it would be eucalyptus. But this takes all the guesswork out of it because it puts them all together so that any body will have the right impact with it. This is actually one of the most studied oils in the world right now, specifically through Johns Hopkins research centers, because of its impact on just basically on disease, on bacteria, on H1N1. There are studies that have actually been printed and documented and are available on NCBI or NCBI. And you can actually just search On Guard Essential Oil and MRSA, or On Guard Essential Oil and H1N1, just to see how much impact these are having. So On Guard is anything. And I'm the person who is, at work, I am unable to get the flu shot, and it's kind of a requirement with where I live, and I am allergic to it. And yet I'm one of the ones who is the least sick at work, which I think is awesome that I have the access to this. Oregano is all things cleansing, and it's what I call the big bug killer. This is nature's most potent natural antibiotic. Now, saying that, there is some safety that we want to talk about a little bit here, and oregano should be maybe not used for anything over 10 days. But its impact is so amazing that you actually do want to have this oil on hand all the time. For example, when we're dealing with outgrowths on the skin, like those outgrowths that, kids have on their toes from going to the swimming pool, or blemishes or skin taggish stuff, put some oregano on there and watch what happens. Some of those things will go away in 4 hours, some of them in a week. Just always be consistent with the oils. That's the other thing I'm going to say when you're treating stuff like that. Consistency is everything, and using them maybe once or twice a day, like minimally. It's less is more with oils more often. So they're safe, they're simple, and they're effective. You just have to use them consistently. So oregano is also how I actually like to do what I call is a parasite cleanse once a month. I will use oregano in a capsule and actually just take it for 6 days. And that creates kind of like this unlivable ground for nasty things to live inside of me. So those are some of the multiple ways you can use oregano. Breathe essential oil, so all things airway. So for some people, peppermint is quite strong. This is meant to do everything airway. Now, my favorite way to use Breathe, surprisingly, is actually during my yoga practice. And whether or not you do yoga, any type of exercise routine, which we should be doing, the problem with us stopping or giving up or feeling like we can't do anymore is often breathing, is the breath, is shortness of breath. And using Breathe oil on your chest or under your nose, or just even breathing it in, will give you that airway support to keep you going longer. Now, dealing with children in the children area, when you have little guys who are very, very ill, and this happens a lot, especially these days with how much toxicity we're being exposed to, colds are lasting longer. And Grandma used to say, put some Vicks Vapor Rub on their feet and put socks on and put them to bed. So Breathe is like that version. It's like the natural version of this. And you can put a few drops diluted on the bottoms of their feet. And because the feet are so porous, there are thousands and thousands of pores on your feet. And they're also the least sensitive area. So this is where you want to go when you're dealing with that kind of buggy stuff with your children. My children have slept through the night for the last 3 years and have not really coughed when they've had colds throughout the night. I actually mix this blend with the On Guard blend in their diffusers in the evening, and what an impact it's had. Okay, Deep Blue. So Deep Blue is an amazing essential oil that is pain. It's everything in Deep Blue is made for like a pain away. There is multiple different ways to use Deep Blue, but my favorite one, as you can tell, it has a childproof cap on it. When it has a childproof cap on it like that, that means that you don't want to ingest this oil. This is a safety that Doterra does, and it's because it has wintergreen in it. And wintergreen in small doses is totally fine, but wintergreen in this blend, because of the purity and potency, we do have to be aware of that. But it is so amazing for soothing sore muscles. It's amazing for people who have joint discomfort. My mother used to take Advil every single day, and she has not taken Advil for years. She actually threw it out because it expired. And I mean, it's not going to, I tell people, it's not going to fix your knee if you need surgery, like if you need to have a knee replacement. But if it gives you another 2-3 years pain-free before you have to go get it, then you go for it, right? You take the extra time. Surgery is a big deal. For those of us who have neurological issues, like I have a scoliosis, Deep Blue is one of my best friends, and I am quite privileged to have products that I'm able to use and to have that last long periods of time. Like I don't have to put Doterra in every 10 minutes. No, I can use Deep Blue once for 8 hours, and that is really supportive. And so Deep Blue is your pain away. Digestion. This is oil, all digestible. So top of your mouth going all the way down to your bum. And what that means is everything in between in your digestive system that could have discomfort, diarrhea, pretty much like you when you hear the Pepto-Bismol song, upset stomach, nausea, diarrhea, constipation. Digestion is a natural way. It's a combination of essential oil that have things like it has caraway in it, and it has ginger, it has tarragon, it has all these oils that are so soothing to our digestive system. Now in our family, this oil is used daily. Now my husband was diagnosed before with IBS. Some of my family members have Crohn's and colitis. And then, I used to suffer from heartburn. We've been able to support all of that with Digestion Oil. This has been one of the oils that had the most impact, and many of our family members were like, we don't even know what we did before Digestion. And it is one of the quickest acting oils. So this oil is something we have in our purse and we always have on hand. Very, very great safety oil. Even just for bloating, by the way. Okay, so frankincense. I believe this is going to be my last essential oil that we're going to talk about. I usually try to get them in order. There's a reason why I chose frankincense for last. Frankincense is considered a very special oil. It is the king of oils. It is a very hard essential oil to acquire. And yet Doterra, because of their ethical sourcing and because they source indigenously and they partner and they do not set up shop and farms in these areas, they work with the people who have been doing this for generations and generations and generations. They actually have 84% of the frankincense in the world, and they pay for this 2 years in advance and make sure that we will have access. And when these trees, these beautiful trees, because it is a resin and the tree bleeds for us pretty much, when they need to rest and recover, because you can only bleed a frankincense tree with 50 cuts in a year period or for a long period, then they rest. And Doterra works specifically with sourcing experts to make sure that this oil is very, very, very well taken care of, and these trees are treated very, very well. And why? So what is so great about this oil? When I was on my essential oil journey, one thing I knew is that I wanted frankincense. And it's actually the main reason I, at the beginning, before understanding the integrity of the company, hopped in with Doterra to purchase their products, is that I knew that they had this frankincense, and it has all 3 types of frankincense in it. And that, again, is very unique. And what's great about frankincense is that it is one of those oils that acts like the ultimate doctor. It can do what all the other essential oils can do. For us, I wanted to use it for my son's autism. I wanted to rub it along his spine to help reduce inflammation in his brain, or help to support that part of it. I wanted it to just really support. It's very supportive to brain function. And so when I started using it, we saw dramatic changes so quickly. Now, it will actually do what all the other essential oils will do. The general rule is if you're going to have just one oil, let it be frankincense, because it'll do it all. And that is why frankincense was so important. How that works a little bit, and I'm going to give you guys just the one little bit of science that I'm going to give you today, is there are essential oils that are high in a constituent called phenols, and those are kind of clean out the doorway to our cell. They help us to clean out that doorway so that we can absorb things better. Then the second type that I'm going to talk about are like things like sesquiterpenes. So they are kind of like, they actually go in and stimulate a response in our cellular structure that will kind of clean out some miswritten DNA. And then we have frankincense, we have monoterpenes. And this here is where the magic happens. Monoterpenes kind of act like the ultimate doctor, and they go over there and they tell our cell, okay, you are not doing what you're supposed to. You can reset yourself now, or if you are past that point, you can die. So frankincense supports us deeply, directly into cellular health. And that is why we all should have and want frankincense. So this is our top 10 talk. I hope that you guys have felt a little bit of inspiration to see some of the areas that, you know, these essential oils can support you. There are literally thousands of ways. Everything I used to do that was synthetic in any way has been replaced with essential oils. So how to get these tools in your home. Now, this is just a quick explanation of how you are able to get Doterra products specifically, because you obviously hopefully want to shift into this beautiful lifestyle now. There are different kits that people can start with, and I will just go through them very, very briefly. There are more, but for now, and there will be a follow-up email just being sent out, just thanking you for joining the class and staying till the end. But this kit here, the one with the diffuser, that kit is $297 US, which has a huge savings. It's the most valued kit, which is why I talk about it first. It has every single oil I talked about in the larger bottle version of 15 milliliters, which ends up being about 250 to 280 drops. To me, I look at that as 280 or 250 treatments. And the diffuser, it's at the savings that it's coming, it's like it comes for free. Now, the beautiful thing about that is that with this kit, you also get to purchase more Doterra products if you're interested in them. After we have our wellness consult and you have a game plan for what you want to tackle in your home, you actually are able to get those products at a discount of 25%. You don't have to buy monthly. It's just like the store that allows you to shop at this discount. It's wonderful. This kit here, the middle kit, which is the top 10 oils, it does not come with a diffuser. This is a kit that people are generally starting to use if they have never experienced Doterra's products. And this is a kit that is still has all top 10 and is still super supportive and is a great way to sample in and see if this lifestyle really is for you. Now, the kit itself is $150. And it comes with the bottles, and they are 5 milliliters. Now, what's really interesting about that is if you actually look at the one with the diffuser, that is I believe it's $227. It might even be a little bit less, but I believe it's $227. Yeah, $227 US. Sorry, I'm in Canada, so I always have to do the conversions. It's $227 US, so it's actually, you get 2/3 more oil, and you're not paying 2/3 more the price. So that's why the value part of the one with the diffuser is usually more liked. The other thing, just so everybody knows, the one with the diffuser, Canadian-wise, if you're from Canada, it's $330 Canadian. The middle one in Canada is $185 Canadian. And this kit to the side here, this beautiful kit, all the kits come with this beautiful book, and they come in a beautiful box. And I love that Doterra kind of started this tagline of with a book in a box, you can become the solutions provider for your home. And that's what the intention is, right? For you to feel that you have that power and that empowerment. All right, so the last kit I want to talk about is the Nature Solutions Kit, or the Natural Solutions Kit in the US. This kit comes with those beautiful supplements I talked about. It comes with all of Doterra's most loved products. It comes with a beautiful box. It comes with the top 10 oils. It comes with a few additional oils that have different and are very multi-purpose. It comes with a diffuser that is just a very beautiful looking diffuser, the fractionated coconut oil, the toothpaste, the cleaner. It also comes with the hand sanitizer, the hand pumps, and I believe the hand sanitizer. It comes with a ginormous amount of things, plus all the kits come with that 25% discount for the year. This one here is $600 US and in Canada. In Canada, we actually have a few different products than the US. In the US, you actually get Terrazyme with it, which is a enzyme-based product for digesting your food properly. It's an amazing product, by the way. And you also are able to have probiotics in the US, which have not come to Canada yet, which is why the prices are the same. So just to recap, the kit with the diffuser, the Home Essentials kit is $227 American. That one there has the top 10 and a diffuser, 25% off for the year. The middle kit is your sampler kit. It's $150 US, 185 Canadian. That one there also comes with a 25% discount, no diffuser though, and the smaller bottles. And then the last kit that I always like to teach about is a Nature Solutions kit, which is both Canadian and American, $600, with just a variance in the products just minutely. Now, what kind of support comes with this? This is the most important thing. So what ends up happening with this beautiful, these products is that it comes with the person that you choose to enroll with, the person that you choose to follow and to kind of give your need for knowledge to. And that's where, as an educator, that's actually where my job starts. This webinar is here to give you a crash course. It is the tip of the iceberg in this lifestyle. And we as educators do take our jobs very seriously. Well, I'd like to think that most of us do. And that there is a partnership that actually ends from this that is all about what you need in your home. So post getting your oils, there is always a wonderful wellness consult that we do to make sure that you feel like you are ready to tackle this. And it comes with tons of online support through Facebook, through Instagram. If you don't have those things, through email. I do all of the above. And the beautiful thing is we dive into the part of essential oils that you want. And there are 3 pathways generally in the essential oil world. The first one is if you want to be a solutions provider for your own home. And this is magic. This is you wanting to use the oils and have the education to create preventative health in your home. The second thing, the second type of person was listening to my talk and was like, wow, you know, maybe I could see this helping so many people. I could see this helping my aunt with her headaches. I could see this helping my cousin who never sleeps at night. That often leads to a sharing partnership, and you still get the same partnership as a solutions provider, but then you also have the ability to sometimes get some money back for commissions to possibly pay your product back. And some people are interested in that aspect, so we always mention it. The last path is if you are someone who is in the health industry, someone who's been impacted in health in a huge way like I have, someone who is actually just wanting more and needing that avenue, or maybe needing that financial healing, because as we know, our healthcare systems are falling apart, but so is our financial systems. And so this is a full partnership of tools, education, ability to teach and educate, and guidance through all of that, and very, very specific types of courses. That's how you're going to be supported. This is the ongoing support of just basically everything else I just shared with you all. I cannot thank you enough for joining me on this webinar. I am so grateful that you partook in it. If there are questions, I hope that you will share. I'm trying to see if, oh, there is a chat. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love hearing that. So we have Rebecca here who's talking about Breathe, that it helped with the nasty cold earlier this year. It's amazing the things that you can actually, the impact that these oils can have, the game changer that they have in every single day life, in it's not just these oils that you're going to use once and then put away. No, these are going to impact your life in a daily fashion. So for those of you who showed up, I'm so grateful again. Please reach out with any questions, with anything that comes up with what I've taught, with anything that resonated. I really, really like to connect. That's really important to me. And again, if you're watching the replay, please feel free to really reach out to me if there are questions about any of the anything that's been brought up through that webinar. As you can see, there are many ways to get a hold of me, and I am available through Messenger, through Instagram, through email, and I have a website. So I can't wait to connect with you guys more. Have a great day.